Hi, I'm David Benjamin. I'm with the Meta-Layer Infrastructure SIG. We're building a trust layer above the web. Also present today is Michelle Tho, our vice facilitator. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we can either address them later or in our follow-up event 2 days from now. The internet has a number of trust and security gaps. For example, AI blurs identity and intent. The trust signals we have, likes, follows, comments, are insufficient. Privacy is not respected. Misinformation is widespread and data is exploited. So what is the meta layer and how can it help address these challenges? Well, the meta layer is a transparent, decentralized overlay above any web page. The meta layer identifies bots and agents and synthetic content. It enables trust signals such as fact checks on any page. It allows people to control their visibility and privacy. It enables provenance and trust signals to be surfaced on any page. And also only humans are allowed to affect virality. And finally, you own and control your data. So what does it look like? Imagine going to a web page and being able to select which of your communities to be active in, and then being able to go to a visible list and see all the people within the active communities that are actually either on the web page right now or who were there recently enough to leave a trace. And then being able to review and participate in a conversation in a sidebar about the content on the page. There are many, many use cases for a technology like this. And we've just identified a set of them, a class of them, whereby you have layers, dedicated layers on top of the entire web that are either geographic or topical or even for events. So you can imagine a layer that is dedicated to the European Union. So anyone within the European layer could participate. You could have one for Pan-Africa, you could have one for India, you could have one for a city. There are already a number of different groups and topic areas that are interested to have their own layers. So one of my colleagues is starting the Athletes for Data Sovereignty. Some other people are interested in a decentralized intelligence agency where internet sleuths would work together. And you can imagine people with certain health afflictions wanting to collaborate together. For example, if they had diabetes, to just have conversations about what's going in their lives, what's working, et cetera, being able to share what works. With events, you can imagine having coordination zones or layers on top of the web where people who went to the event could collaborate after the event is over. Many, many different use cases, much more than what we just talked about here, but I just wanted to throw out a couple. This SIG will change the web experience. This is an opportunity to contribute to an intergenerational movement for a safe, privacy first, and trustworthy internet. This SIG addresses gaps in the existing internet standards and governance. Most of the existing bodies focus on protocols, and we're focusing on the interface, and not just seeing the interface as the content layer, but also the meta layer above that. We are the governing body of the Meta Layer Initiative, which has already been going for a year, and we've been getting advice from Vint Cerf. So this is an ongoing concern. Our mandate with the SIG is to co-create the meta layer's governance, terminology, the desirable properties of a meta layer, a substrate, and the pilots. We're going to be using a governance model that we are adopting from the IETF, and will sunset in 2 years and transition into a meta layer task force. We have an event in 2 days. We invite you all to it.
Thank you for that, David. Your time is up there, very informative. I see there's a couple of questions from or Wilfred. How are the technologies such as cognitive radio and machine learning integrated into your projects? I don't know if you can see that. If you want to read it, or shall I read it to everyone? What challenges do you face in collaborating with communities, and what role do local stakeholders play in the development of AI solutions? How do you assess the social and economic impacts of these community innovations, and how does your approach differ from traditional AI R&D methods?
Okay, that's a lot. Let's see. So what was the first one?
So how are technologies such as cognitive radio and machine learning integrated into your project?
We're creating a substrate that will allow people to create applications that can use whichever LLM that they want to, and it will also enable uh, people to use application information and data that they've already created in a silo and then expose that throughout the entire web. So if their project already includes machine learning, then we will give that application the possibility of being active on any relevant web page. So we're not actually doing the machine learning, but we're allowing for whatever is already created to be spread wherever it needs to go on the web.
The next question is, what challenges do you face in collaborating with the communities with the Meta-Layer infrastructure?
Well, I would say that the biggest challenge is that no one knows what it is, right? We've been thinking about the web as this flat thing, more or less, that's just content. And now this renegade group of people comes along and says, no, actually, there's space above this web page, and we can use this in many ways to allow us to have privacy and transparency and free speech and all these things that we're complaining about today's web, but it's actually really hard for people to think about this meta layer because no one's been talking about it. It's kind of like we're in 1800s Europe. When you went into a cake store and asked for a cake, they would show you many, many different one-layer cakes. And if you said, I want a wedding cake, they would just bring out a big cake with some dolls on it, but it wouldn't be multiple layers. Layers came later. So we're in that one layer cake um stage of the internet, in my opinion.
I got a question from Adil. Adil, do you want to ask this one out, or should I read this? How can a globally owned and managed meta-layer infrastructure provide a tangible benefit to the world community by addressing current digital inequalities and fostering a more equitable, transparent, and resilient online environment?
Well, this meta layer is intended to be completely community governed. So if you're part of a community, the community actually determines the rules of engagement, the types of content that is allowed. And by by moving the governance from the platforms to the community and to the individual, we are, in a sense, changing the dynamic of the web experience so that people have agency, yet at the same time, accountability.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for that, David and Michelle. I appreciate your presentation, and I believe that you guys have too. You said you've advertised a open chat to discuss this further in the coming days.
Yeah, we have an event on September 27th at this same time on Zoom as well. And we're inviting anyone who wants to learn more about the meta layer. I mean, we recognize that this is a new concept, and we want to make sure that people have as much information as they need to make their decision.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much to both of you for that.